Warning before anything else. What you're about to hear is not fiction, nor is it an attack. It's the raw and unfiltered reflection of what was revealed in a federal courtroom as reported by an independent journalist on the ground. The following story blends tension, revelations, and fragments of truth that have remained in the shadows for far too long. Everything is presented for educational and reflective purposes. The courtroom was filled with a heavy atmosphere. The walls seemed to absorb every word, every glance. Journalists' pens moved nervously over paper. At the defense table, Diddy's lawyers whispered, their faces stern. Then, silence. The heavy doors at the back slowly opened. No bodyguards, no announcement, just him, Will Smith, alone, silent. Not a trace of Hollywood shine, no sunglasses, no smile. Nothing but the weight of a man who has carried a truth for far too long. The judge looked up, surprised. Diddy froze. His gaze swept the room, landed on Will, and for a fraction of a second, something appeared in his eyes that no one had seen before. Will walked straight to the witness stand. His steps were slow, but steady. He looked at no one. He sat down, adjusted the mic, took a deep breath. Then he spoke. "I'm not here because I was called. I asked to be heard." The silence that followed was chilling, a tension no camera or pen could capture. He began, slowly, each word measured. His voice betrayed a bottled-up emotion, a rage frozen by the years. "For a long time, I kept everything inside. I did what everyone does in this industry. Smile, play the game, win awards, look away. But one day you realize your silence feeds the monsters." He glanced at Diddy without aggression, just the weariness of a man who has seen too much. He explained how it all started with an invitation. Nothing extraordinary, a private party. The kind of night where stars mingle, chat, make deals. But that night wasn't a party. It was a trap. Will described arriving at the mansion, a property perched in the hills, far from prying eyes. Security guards everywhere, phone taken, mirrors on the walls, dim lights, a surreal vibe. I felt watched from the very first second. There were familiar faces, others blurry, artists, producers, even politicians, some standing back, others smiling as if nothing was wrong. Then Diddy arrived. He smiled, placed a hand on Will's shoulder. "Welcome to the family," he said. But that smile wasn't friendly, it was domination. Diddy invited him to talk in a separate room. What Will saw inside still haunts him today. Men, women, young ones, too young. Some were laughing, others seemed distant, and Diddy was watching. He was laughing, he was in control. Will spoke of that feeling of powerlessness, of paralysis. "You don't know if you can leave. Actually, you know you can't. Everything is set up that way." In the following days, the threats began. A call, an unknown voice. "We hope the Fresh Prince enjoyed the evening." Then an envelope, inside, a USB drive. He hesitated, then looked. And there, the unthinkable, a video of him on a couch, disconnected, laughing, talking. He remembered nothing. Behind the camera, Diddy's voice. He realized he had been drugged, filmed, manipulated. "I wasn't at a party. I was in a control ritual." The consequences of his refusal to return came quickly. Contracts disappeared, movies canceled, brands cut ties. Rumors spread about his mental health, his relationship, his sexuality. Everything collapsed without explanation. But I knew. I had said no, and that's how he punishes. He spoke of a specific event. 2013, a major ad campaign. Everything was signed, ready. Then, silence. 2 weeks later, a new invitation. He declined, and the attacks resumed. Will spoke of psychological warfare, of a network. He named names, famous ones, powerful people. "I saw a platform CEO hand a USB to Diddy at a gala. I understood. He wasn't just networking, he was collecting files. He controlled access. So why speak now?" Will talked about a call from an old friend. A simple message. "They played your voice yesterday in court." He then realized one of the infamous audio tapes had his voice on it. He asked to hear it. In a closed room, what he heard broke him. It was my voice, but it wasn't me. I was gone. You could hear Diddy laughing, others clapping, and me, I remembered nothing. He looked up. This wasn't humiliation. This was identity theft, psychological rape. He then spoke to his children about what they might one day read, about what he wanted to leave behind. I don't want my silence to become my legacy. The judge allowed him to address Diddy. He stood up, paused, walked forward. You built an empire on fear. You disguised it as success, but everything you build is infected. You destroyed people for your pleasure, for your power. He pulled out a photo. This was me, before. He placed it on the stand. I'm no longer that man, but I'll find him again. And he concluded, you used to say, no one parties like you, but no one manipulates like you either. Will left the room, wordless, not grave, but this time free, not unscathed, but free. Diddy, meanwhile, stayed frozen, silent. The mask had fallen. Outside, the world was in turmoil. The media jumped on the shock. Hashtags exploded. Will speaks. Other names emerged. More testimonies poured in. That day, Will Smith didn't just speak. He ripped the gag off an entire industry. And now the only real question left is, who will be next to break the wall of silence?